evening and welcome to our June 2022 Planning Commission meeting. If everyone could stand so we could recite the Pledge of Allegiance and for our invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you now and just ask for wisdom and guidance to do the right thing, govern with honor, respect to all, and just pray that we make wise choices and decisions, and just be with each and every one tonight, safely travel back home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Roll call.
Howard Austin.
Here.
Mark Cloud.
Here.
Gary Compton.
Here.
Roy Covert. James David.
Here.
Shannon Mueller. Peyton Parker.
Here.
Ian Peters. Bill Tyler.
Do we have any comments or concerns regarding the May minutes? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by, was that?
Compton.
I thought it was Pete.
It was me.
Oh, Dan, I'm sorry, and that's not good either.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Compton. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, under other, we have a proposed amendment to the Springdale Code of Ordinance, Chapter 130 zoning ordinance, to amend Article 5, use units, and use unit 53, transitional housing. Ernest?
Thank you. I know you have a long agenda, so I'll keep it brief. We are bringing forth an ordinance that this public hearing is on that would add a use unit 53 for transitional housing. We don't currently have a use unit for transitional housing. The definition is actually taken from the Arkansas.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Mute their
We need to mute
Zoom.
Do we have a slide to go with this? Just so those in the audience see what we're talking about.
for mine. Oh. At any rate, we've created a use unit for transitional housing, which is verbatim what the definition is from the Arkansas Department of Corrections, Division of Community. There it is. Division of Community Corrections licensed facility. It would only be allowed as a conditional use in 3 commercial zones. We obviously don't want one of these types of facilities in residential zones. We do have one of these operating currently in our city. It is in a C2 zone. It's operating as a use unit 4, cultural, health, recreational facility, which really doesn't fit into that. Really doesn't fit under use unit 5, which is institutional facility like a jail. It's kind of somewhere in between. So we would propose to amend the zoning ordinance to add this particular use unit. And we're proposing to make it a conditional use in a C2, C4, and C5 zone. That way, the city would have flexibility as far as placing certain possible conditions on the facility, and if they violate those conditions, the conditional use could be revoked. The ordinance committee looked at this last night as well, city council, and it's going to be going to the city council meeting next week. So as you know, the law requires you to hold a public hearing before you can take action, before city council can take action to amend the zoning ordinance. Be happy to answer any questions.
All we need to do is ask for comments. Okay, do we have any comments from the audience? Okay, this would be a motion.
Well, we don't have to do anything with it. This just automatically moves forward to city council next Tuesday evening for them to adopt the ordinance. All we have to do is hold the public hearing.
The only question that came up at ordinance committee was, we already have a separate definition and a separate way to address sober living houses, for example. That is not what this is. This is a very short, specifically defined type of use that would only be allowed as a conditional use in those 3 commercial zones. Thank you.
when we get done with the rezoning, we'll do it.
Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is Juan Manuel Garcia. It is a rezoning from A1 to SF2 and C2.
Somebody from Blue and Associates, do we have anybody online from Blue and Associates?
Come back to that one.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to come back to that one.
Okay, the next one is Karen White. This is a tandem lot split. Presented by Alan Reed and Associates.
Good evening. My name is Alan Reed. I'm here representing Karen White. Karen has a large piece of property with more than one dwelling on it. She's having a hard time selling the property as one piece, so we would like to divide it into several tracts, which is going to leave a tandem lot, and we're just asking for permission to move forward on creating a tandem lot.
Okay. And this is actually in the city's planning area, not in the city limits, so that
That's
we're
correct.
doing it on behalf of the county. So can we go to the next slide that shows what we're dividing it into? And they would need a 30-foot access easement across the original area to get, that's what creates the tandem lot split.
Right. There is an existing 60-foot easement in place right now, and that's being utilized by both the houses that are there and a storage facility to the east of her property. And then we have also designated that extra 30-foot easement from the house down to Tulip Tree, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
So they would have more than one access point in there.
And all of these lots are on septic systems, and we know that the septic systems will fit on the designated lots, correct?
Yeah, in fact, we've divided the property between the two system leach fields.
Okay. We need to go back and put that on the plat so that we know where the
Yeah.
septic
I've got it down
systems-
there.
They're on here? Oh, I see them. They're boxes.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was one of the ways we defined where the boundary would be.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other comments, Rick? No, we have no other comments from engineering or planning. Engineering, have any comments? Katie, no? Okay, so we're good. This would be making a recommendation to the council. Now, you did ask for a variance for paving of the driveway. You want to leave it as gravel as well? It's later on in the agenda. It wasn't tabled from last time because the variance hadn't been submitted. That's why it shows up on two different places on the agenda. It's just easier if we go ahead and hear the variance request for the gravel driveway at the same time. So Alan doesn't have to sit around and wait and come back.
Yeah, in conjunction with the split, Mrs. White was also hoping that the city could find a different means of, meeting the requirements of a paved drive without having maybe to do it up front. She's trying to sell this property. She doesn't even live here anymore, and she's in Eureka with her daughter. And, she's got these one too many houses, that she can't seem to sell. And she was hoping maybe that the city could come up with some sort of recommendation as maybe how she could either get a variance from that or work out some sort of arrangement with the city that would satisfy everybody's needs.
They could do a bill of assurance to have it paved within 2 years. But
I
that
thi-
is filed as a lien on the property, so the property owner buying it would know they would have to have it paved within 2 years or come back and ask for an extension or some other method after that 2-year period.
I feel she'd be totally agreeable with that. I think right now she's just, between a rock and a hard place on this property.
Okay, so we'll recommend that the variance be a bill of assurance for it to be paved within 2 years. You'll need to come by the office if this is approved and get that documentation for her to sign.
Okay, we'll work with
Okay.
you on that then, your
Okay.
office.
Okay?
Call for the vote.
Do we have any comments from anybody else?
Do we have any comments from the audience?
Okay.
If you
You
can
need
come,
to come to the mic and tell us who you are.
have a easement problem on the east side of their property and the west side of my property that is supposedly, they say it doesn't interfere with my buildings, but my septic system is in there, according to their easement. That's the one they sent me. I need to verify that that's not true.
Sir, could you state your name?
My name is Richard Allen Kemp. I own Aaron Self Storage.
Okay, and so you're saying that the easement encroaches on your septic system?
Yes, and my fencing and everything else, the way it's drawn.
Alan, you want to address that?
I don't know anything about the septic. I'd be glad to, if he points it out to me, I'd be glad to add it. I know there was concern initially about the buildings being in the easement, and we went back and surveyed his buildings and made sure they were not in the easement. Now, there may be some fence line encroachments in it, but there's nothing that's prohibiting traffic, vehicular traffic up and down the easement at all. This is pretty wide open.
Well, my septic, where'd it go?
Okay, can we go back to the drawing?
Which-
So you're saying where that existing 60-foot access easement goes up through there, it encroaches on your septic system?
Yes. My septic system is,
But it looks like that
Right in
easement
here.
was filed in 2003. Was your septic system in place in 2003?
no,
No?
no.
So your septic system is encroaching on an easement that existed?
Well, yes, ma'am. But Don is the one that helped me do it.
I'm sorry?
Don is the one that helped me do it. He's the one that wrote the easement. I don't believe the easement was drawn up the way it was supposed to be. This has been 2 decades.
Okay, I'm assuming, Alan, that you pulled that deed easement and took it directly off that easement document.
Right, yeah, this property had been surveyed before by a group out of Huntsville, and they actually came up with the descriptions for the boundary and the 60-foot easement, and we just followed their easement as it was recorded in the courthouse. And it's basically running right down the middle of the driveway, 30 feet each side of the center of the existing driveway. And that, like I said, that was there, that's been there for decades, the easement.
Right. But the easement for the utilities, the telephone pole is 30 foot to the east or west. The telephone pole should be in the middle of the 30-foot easement, and then another 30 foot the other way.
I wouldn't know anything about the utilities, I was just
Right.
interested in the access myself.
But that's why I called you, and you said you would meet me out there, and y'all didn't do that.
We did. I'm sorry, we did meet this gentleman out there. We did locate
When?
his buildings. We did locate his buildings. We did locate the driveway. And we located everything you see on that drawing right there.
Well, I'm just saying, I called you, and then I called Justin last week.
Okay, the question is, does the planning commission feel comfortable about this, or do we need to table it and get this stuff worked out before y'all take action on it?
Well, I mean, it's hard to do this when there's uncertainty.
Yeah,
But
I
the
know.
question at hand is a tandem lot split, not an approval of a plat. So if
Because
there's a
the- yeah.
mistake,
Yeah.
that mistake can be remedied. All we're doing is splitting this property into a tandem lot.
And the tandem
So-
lot split is from the other side of the access easement.
It's on,
That's
it's on the other side, it's not even on this property. So I'm comfortable going forward with that understanding.
Okay,
But
and
others may
before
not.
this gets filed, you guys are gonna have to work that out. Okay?
That's fine.
That's assuming that we make a motion to approve the conditional use. I think there's another question. There was another, you have to go up to the microphone and tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Hugo. I live off of Fawn Road, and I was wondering if that's gonna affect any of that street because we did get a paper in the mail that said that they were doing some sort of expansion on the road. So we're just wanting to make sure if they are going through with that or not.
Who did you get this notification from?
From here, from the city planning commission. I don't
Okay.
have the card on me. I'm sorry. Just got off work, but I did receive it from you guys. So
Alan, did you send that notice out to the adjacent property owners?
Yeah, we sent out all the notices.
And you told them, the notice, what does it say?
I can dig it out. I think it was just, making people put on notice that there was a meeting going on, and the time and the place.
Well, they're proposing to create an access easement on the area that you see on the screen that's in yellow.
Okay.
And they're asking for it to not be paved for at least 2 years. Does that affect your property?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, that's what we're talking about tonight.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay. I think we're ready for a call for the question. Yes.
Okay, this will be call for the vote for the tandem lot split.
We need to vote on the variance? Are we
Probably
doing the
need to
tandem
do-
lot split first or the variance first?
We probably need to do the variance first, and he's willing to do a bill of assurance.
Okay,
So is that a call for the question?
Yes.
call for the question.
Call for the question for a bill of assurance for 2 years on the paving of the access easement.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes. Call for the question on the tandem lot split.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
We will need to get with the county to correct those items before they go forward, because this is in the planning area. It doesn't go to city council.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on, I've got Nathan Crouch with Blue and Associates on the line. He says that he's ready. He's representing the item AR2226.
You want to go back now, or you want to wait till we get?
We can go back,
Okay.
that's fine with everyone.
Hello, everyone. I appreciate your dealing with me and putting up with my ignorance. I was unable to raise my hand on the Zoom, but then now I'm seeing that I have a unmute function. It's just a little different than what I'm used to. So I'm here, and thank you very much. I'll take your questions if you have any.
Can you explain to us what the rezoning is?
Yes, ma'am. They're rezoning the one side of the property in order to prep it for splitting, and they're going to rezone one side to SF2, the other side being track 2, over to C2, in order for the applicants to basically isolate their home and their residential portion of the property from the commercial side, which would be the eastern side, followed by the rezoning and replat. If approved, they'll go ahead and construct some commercial type buildings over there.
It appears on the SF2 that there's some area that's being used for part of that commercial operation. Is that going to go away? Is that paved area, or is that just an outline of a fence or whatever that is on the SF2
I
side?
think ma'am, that's just an outline of a gravel area, and they've just laid a bunch of gravel down there. And to the best of my knowledge, yes, if this all does go through and get approved, then all of their commercial activity will take place on the commercial property.
Okay, so what's going to keep that from being used if it's got gravel in? Is that gravel all going to be removed from the SF2 side?
Oh, I doubt that, but the best I can tell right now from what I've heard through the planning department is that they were using the property for other purposes, maybe or maybe not purposes that are allowed by zoning, and they may have been cited for that, and so they're trying to come into compliance with this action, with the rezone and the replat, and then once they get that approved, then, you know, they'll be able to switch gears and come into compliance. It's the best of my knowledge. But I don't believe they plan on removing any of the gravel. But I don't think that they're in attendance, and so I could get back with you on that. But I would hope that that wouldn't hold up the hearing.
Okay, staff comments.
Staff comments?
The comprehensive land use plan indicates commercial use for the area. The portion that is in the C2 is in compliance with or in keeping with the goals of the comprehensive land use plan. Ensure adequate land allocation for residential purposes by providing lots of adequate size, which would address the SF2. I'm just concerned that we're allowing the possibility of commercial being extended on that property. Assure adequate or improve the city's economic base and tax structure through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations and encourage the development of a wide range of commercial development for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers.
Does the commission have any comments?
We need comments from the audience too.
Any comments from the audience? Take the rezoning first.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a call for the vote for the rezoning.
Call for the vote?
Call for the vote by Mr. Was that Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to the council on the 28th. And there is a replat in this that we can take it now at the same time if you want to go ahead and get this one out of the way. It's to replat it to show what you saw on the screen. Do we have any staff comments on the replat?
We do. Upon approval of the rezoning, the R2226, the A1 building setback information needs to be removed off of the plat, and the current and to-be zoning information now needs to reflect the C2 and the SF2 area regulations when presented to City Council. And the rest are just standard comments.
Any comments from the commission? Any
This
from,
would be a motion subject to staff comments.
do I have a motion?
Motion subject to staff comments?
Motion by Mr. Peters,
Second.
second by Mr. David.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud, Compton.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
The ordinance to approve the replat will need to be in our office by the 22nd. And we would not allow it to go to council until the rezoning is heard at the same time. Okay?
Thank you.
Next, we have 264 trailers presented by Expedient Civil Engineering.
Hello, I'm Avery Bodine, representing Expedient Civil Engineering on our 264 trailers, a large-scale development. Are we going to address the variances as well?
Okay. Again, this was one that was tabled from the last meeting, but the variance wasn't submitted at that time, so I would recommend that we go ahead and do the variance at the same time, and we're looking at this instead of coming back to it later. You wanna present your variance request first?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we have three variances for after. One is for the parking lot orientation, where you require no more than 60% in the front of the building. However, this as an open display development with the trailers parked out in the front, it would be easier for the people to park in between the buildings.
So all of
Oh.
the vehicular parking is behind the open display, but it's still all in the front of the building.
Yes, ma'am. And it's a fair distance away from the right-of-way. The other one is on materials and colors of the facade of the building. where they have chosen a clean line and modern palette that's consistent with the overall design of the building. One, reverse M-LOK metal panel and Mac Metal Harry Wood cedar.
Can you go to the picture of the building?
And the foundation landscaping, where I'm showing it on the northwest and south sides, but not on the east side, where there will be trailers pulling in and out of. And that is going to be as a drive-through warehouse with garage doors on both sides, so the probability of the islands where we put in any kind of perimeter landscaping could be ran over or damaged in the process.
So do you have the same amount of landscaping on the entire site, just not all around the building itself?
Yes, ma'am. That about covers it.
Comments from staff?
Rick's got comments. You're gonna do it on both of it together, right?
That's fine. Let's see. Outside of standard comments, we have commercial design standard comments that have already been addressed in the previous several moments, and that is no more than 60% of the off-street parking area for the entire property can be located between the front facade within the front yard of the principal building and the primary abutting street unless the building and/or parking lots are screened from view of, by outlot development and additional tree plantings and/or berms for which a variance has been requested. Building facades shall include a repeating pattern with no less than 3 of the following: color change, texture change, material module change, expressions of architectural or structural bay through a change in plane no less than 12 inches in width, such as an offset, reveal, or projecting rib. At least one element must repeat horizontally, and no element shall repeat at intervals of greater than 30 feet horizontally or vertically, for which a variance has been requested. Predominant exterior building materials shall not be smooth-faced concrete block, tilt-up concrete panels, or prefab steel panels, for which a variance has been requested. And finally, the foundation landscaping is required, and a variance has been requested.
Only engineering comment is to revise the note about streetlights, and I think I sent the language in my full comment sheet.
Is it the wrong notation of streetlights that needs to be fixed?
Yeah, it just basically making sure that we understand that the lights are maintained by the utility and not by the city.
Does the commission have any comments?
Is there site lighting on the property?
Excuse me, sorry.
There
Site
is a
lighting?
lighting plan in there.
I believe there was. Was included? Oh.
The lighting plan is not included in the PowerPoint, however, it was provided by the applicant.
Can you go back to the images?
You have a utility plan, but I don't see a lighting plan. You'll have to have a lighting plan before you can.
I think it
Unless it's
was,
on the utility plan, I didn't see it on the utility plan.
it was included as a separate document. Yeah.
Okay.
Should have came in with the architect's elevations.
In with the elevations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll just have to check on that, make sure it's there.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see it in the documentation that's in your packet.
And I can have that sent to you as soon as possible.
Do we have any comments from the audience? take these?
We can take them all together.
We can take them all together or separately?
I'm good with putting them all together.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, this would be a call for the vote.
Call for the vote on the variances.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have the motion subject to staff comments.
So motion.
Motion by Mr. Cloud,
Second.
second by Mr. David.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes. That passes 7-0. Okay, next we have the Springdale Airport East Hangar, presented by Garver Engineers. Greg Thomas.
Hello, my name is Greg Thomas with Garver. I'm here representing the Springdale Airport East Hangar. If you recall, this project came through large-scale development last year and was approved. However, due to an unknown leasing agreement at the airport, we had to change the access point of the airport. It was previously accessed through a parking lot of the hangar to the south. However, like I said, due to leasing arrangements with that tenant, we'll now have to access the proposed hangar from Highway 265 as shown there on the top of the screen. And so what we'd like to get approved today is the updated site access for the project.
You are proposing on this for construction for it to be unpaved?
That is correct. There are future phases of the project. This is just one hangar. There'll be 4 hangars in the future. And as we develop those ultimate phases, we expect to fully pave and provide landscaping and facade upgrades as necessary.
Okay, do we have any other comments that are new except Ed's comment? And are you gonna read Ed's comment or is he?
I was going to read ours that we've got.
Oh, you're going ours
and,
first, okay.
Other than standard comments, we have, once the informal plat used to combine the associated parcels has been completed, please reflect this newly created parcel as well as the associated parcel number. Submit a copy of the warranty deed, and a warranty deed for the property is to be provided upon completion of the informal plat used to combine the associated parcels. And finally, all drives and parking areas are required to be paved. A paved access drive will be required in order to obtain a certificate of occupancy.
Okay, that was Ed's comment.
And then for that paved access road, we'll need a section detail added in the plans, and then also please include the City of Springdale standard details for sidewalks.
Okay, Greg, you understand that they're not gonna occupy that hangar until it's paved? No certificate of occupancy for this hangar unless that access is paved.
I believe in the last, yeah. I'll let Ed. Thank you, Ed.
Subsequent to those comments, there was a meeting with the fire chief, and the fire chief has allowed that it be paved in 2 years. It's a bill of assurances with the city, which I don't know if the city needs to do a bill of assurances. Basically, the city's guaranteeing that they're gonna pave it in 2 years.
We didn't have a variance on there for asking for it not to be paved. We were under the understanding that it had to be paved before it was occupied, so I guess if the attorney's office is good with that, I guess. Okay. So is the city gonna do a bill of assurance to itself, or we're just gonna know that it's gotta be done in 2 years? Mayor, you could ask for a bill of assurance, or are we gonna let it go like this?
I think we have, if we have a record that it gets done in 2 years, then that's what we do.
Me too, I hadn't heard of it until just now. So I didn't know that we were under the assumption that it had to be paved before they could occupy that hangar. I didn't realize bill of insurance had been discussed.
We apologize to the commission. We assumed the fire department had discussed it. But
Okay.
Steve's not here. He's on vacation.
I don't, yes, the question is, can the fire department do that? Okay, let's go, we can work this out internally, okay? It's one city department to the other one, I guess we should have communicated a little bit better before we got here. I thought we were all on the same page before now, so.
Does the commission have any comments?
Yeah, what is your timeline on all the hangars being done? Do you have a timeline for it?
Right now, there are, like I said, there are 4 hangars. The city is the first hangar. The other 3 spots, I believe there are 2, there's 1 lease that has already been signed. There are 2 or 3 people that have been interested. We've had some people interested and drop out, but I think the commission expects to fill it in the next 2 years or so.
So the answer is, we don't know.
Right?
Sorry.
They will come back with large scales for each one as they.
That is
build.
correct, yes. The only ultimate planning that we did for this one was the detention pond and stormwater requirements.
Do we have any comments from the audience? This is a motion, subject to staff comments.
Motion, subject to staff comments.
Motion by Dr. Compton,
Second.
second by Mr. Cloud.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker.
Yes.
passes 7-0. Okay, next on the agenda is Magdaleno Pina Alvarez, presented by Magdaleno Pina Alvarez.
Hello, I'm Brandon Pina Ruiz, here with my father. We came to present the variance to expand the driveway 8 foot towards the front door. And we came here to request this because we want more parking space, because our cars are we have 3 cars and it's pretty tight, and it'd be more comfortable for us to park our cars like that.
So they came in and applied for a driveway expansion permit. However, this is a duplex. And so our code says that you cannot expand your driveway towards the front door. Both sides of the driveway have a front door since this is a duplex. And we recommended to the homeowners that a variance would be required for them to expand the driveway. With this application, once the variance is passed, they still do meet all of the other requirements for a driveway expansion.
So they own the duplex and rent out the other side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do we have any comments from the audience? This would be a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
passes 7-0.
You will need to get with the engineering department to get a permit before you start any work on it, okay?
Ma'am. Thank you.
Next, we have Sunbelt Rentals, presented by Walmart Real Estate Business Trust.
Hello, my name is Justin Homer. I'm the market manager for Sunbelt Rentals, here to talk about the outdoor structure at the Springdale Walmart. So what we kind of propose is a different, well, we were already there once, but we were kind of too close to the building. So we went for the north part of the parking lot, and we would need 10 spaces for that. It's basically a shed for gasoline items such as lawnmowers, pressure washers and stuff like that. There will be no utilities tied to it or anything like that, and we just want to move forward with that motion.
Okay, is there somebody here from Walmart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Mark Asplund with Walmart Realty. I provided a authorization
Okay.
delegation letter and
Okay.
for Sunbelt to speak on their behalf at our location.
Okay, so the request is to put a structure right up close to the building that looks like this, right?
Yeah, we're not going close to the building. We're going out towards the north parking lot, all the way like back. There's a Wendy's and a bank back there. So it would be back in that corner.
Okay, so did you provide a drawing that shows where you're gonna put it? Because we were all of the assumption you were going back to where you were before and not taking up space in the parking lot.
With some of the, like Walmart, always kind of moving around with different things with their lawn and garden, we decided the outer part would be best for us. I do have that drawing. I don't have it. You guys don't have it, but I do have it here with me.
Okay, so which area, they're getting ready to have an event at that location.
Yeah, I
Are
talked
you
to
in
him.
the same place that that event was going on?
We would wait till after the event and then go from there. The event's on July 30th.
Okay. So how many spaces did you say you were taking up?
It would be 10.
And are you doing any outside storage or just putting that little container at that location?
Yeah, I mean, there would be like items inside there, so, if that's what you're asking.
Is there gonna be anything in the parking lot outside the structure?
No.
Okay, and how are you tying the structure down? I mean, we haven't seen anything to see how this structure is going to be. And here comes Ed to ask those questions about how this is going to be tied down and all that kind of stuff.
We have engineered drawings for the tie down, so they still have to get a building permit. The reason we did not give them a building permit was that because of commercial design standards.
Okay, did you know that it wasn't going to be up next to the building?
No, but that doesn't affect how it's gonna be built as far as, they're gonna have to drive stakes into the parking lot and stake it down, so it doesn't blow off in a windstorm.
Okay. Do we have any other comments? We're kind of didn't realize that we were putting it at a different location because we hadn't had any conversations with y'all since this was tabled last time. No lighting to go with it, no security around it, just that structure out there tied down and it's locked up.
Correct. We would use, like, as it got dark, the lighting from the parking lot, the ambient lighting, and then as it, that would be it.
That's all I have. Okay, this is to the commission.
Is there any lighting in the structure itself?
There is no lighting.
Are you daytime operation only?
Daytime operation only.
So basically what you have is if you want to rent the tools out of this, you have to go into the store and make arrangements in some kind of a booth or something in the store. And then an employee comes out with that person and open it up and let them take the stuff out.
No, there's an employee in the store, then an employee at the structure, and then they communicate, and then they'll say, hey, a person's coming out to get such and such equipment.
So you have an employee at this structure all day long?
They rotate how they prefer, half hour, 2 hours, whatever works with them.
And before you were talking about cleaning equipment and that kind of stuff, are you going to have power washers and that kind of stuff to clean up the equipment that you bring back?
No, we will take everything back that's dirty to our main store in Rogers on 8th Street.
Okay.
Will you have any vehicles there for rent?
No, due to zoning, there will be no vehicles at that Walmart.
Okay.
What about the fuel? I see there's gonna be 110 gallons of fuel.
It's actually we have a 30-gallon caddy, and then we've added up what would be the equipment. Nothing exceeds 100 gallons ever at any time.
Okay, looking at this drawing, what are the materials on the outside of the structure?
The materials will be a wrap that matches the same as that Walmart. This is just a rendering. This is not exactly what it has to be. Whatever that Walmart, that Springdale Walmart, we will put a wrap on that structure.
So it'll be gray with blue trim like that store has.
Yes, correct.
Two-tone gray.
Yeah.
And it'll all be a metal building with a wrap on
Yep.
it. Okay, what size is the building?
So the outside structures are 40 feet in length. I don't know the exact width, and then in the middle is 20 feet wide. I was told it's 32 by 40.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Do we want to take these all together?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a call for the vote.
This is a really strange one because they're asking for commercial design standards, but now that it's in the parking lot, it's a little bit different. You're not gonna have any outdoor storage, any trash collectors, no utilities of any kind. And we know what the building's gonna look like, so I don't know that multiple buildings in a commercial center, they're all supposed to look the same, but this is kind of a temporary structure at that location.
Do I have a call for the vote?
Call for vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. David.
Cloud? Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Austin?
Passes 7-0.
You need to get with the building inspector to get a permit.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, we have rezonings. We have Collins Cove LLC, presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. Our request tonight is to rezone the eastern portion of this property, approximately 5.5 acres, from SF1 to SF2. We work with staff, engineering staff, to dedicate additional right-of-way for future 56th Street, which caused our lots to fall below the minimum as required by SF1 zoning code. So we're here requesting a zoning change to SF2.
You want staff comments?
Staff comments.
The comprehensive land use plan indicates low-density residential use for the area. The rezoning request is a result of the additional right-of-way needed for 56th Street Improvement Project and is recommended for approval.
Do we have any comments from the audience? Okay, this would be a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Who's that? Call for the vote by Mr. Cloud.
Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Never mind, okay. Okay. Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
Cloud?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to council on the 28th.
Thank you.
Next, we have Michael A. Lewis, A1 to SF1, presented by Michael Lewis.
Good evening, Michael Lewis. The property in question was split from the main house several years ago, and it was automatically classified as A1. I'm wanting to change it to SF1 so that I can then sell the property to a single family.
Okay, staff comments?
The land use plan indicates low-density residential use for the area. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies. Protect the positive aspects of neighborhood character throughout the city, assure adequate land allocation for residential purposes by providing lots of adequate size, and encourage the development of a variety of housing types appropriate to the size and income of all households living and working in Springdale.
Any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Cloud, Compton.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to council on June the 28th.
Next, we have MRKJM Holdings LLC, SF2 to SF3, presented by Anderson Engineering.
I'm Ernie Deaton. I represent Anderson Engineering, and we're requesting, on behalf of MRKJM Holdings, a rezoning from SF2 to SF3 for this 120 acres.
Staff comments?
The adopted comprehensive land use plan indicates low-density residential use for the area. The rezoning request is recommended for approval. Protect the positive aspects of neighborhood character, assure adequate land allocation for residential purposes, encourage the development of a variety of housing types appropriate to the size and income of all households living and working in Springdale.
Comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Okay, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote. Yes.
Call for the vote by Mr. Howard.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to council on the 28th.
Thank you.
Next, we have Nora Taylor, A1 to C5, presented by Helena Nugent.
Hi, Hi, good evening. My name is Helena Nguyen. My
Can you
address
pull that
is-
down a little bit closer? We can't hardly hear you.
My name is Helena Nguyen. My address live in 8017 Bunasera Street, Springdale, Arkansas. I'm going to buy 5119 Elm Spring Road, Springdale, to build a coffee shop. It's 1.3 acre. I want rezone A1 to C5. Thank you.
Staff comments?
The adopted comprehensive land use plan indicates commercial use for the area. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan is recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations. Assure adequate land allocation for commercial areas of sufficient size and in proper locations. And encourage the development of a wide range of commercial development for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers.
Any comments from the commission? Do we have any comments from the audience? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Dr. Compton.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes. Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to council on June the 28th.
Next, we have Anthony Paroli and Labino Dedusha. I'm sorry, I probably did not say that correctly. A1 to C2, presented by Will Kellstrom.
Good evening, Will Kellstrom on behalf of the applicant. We are asking to rezone this property from, A1 to C2 for general commercial. We are wanting to remodel the existing structure on the property into a coffee house plus restaurant. And other than that, I'm gonna keep it short and save y'all time unless you guys have any questions, and I can address any comments from the public as well. And I do want to note that on you guys' diagram there, the property actually encompasses the property just on the inside of that flagpole. I believe the legal description is correct in the packet, but that diagram is only one of the properties, so.
So it's actually that entire tract?
Yes,
Which is a
well,
1.91 acre tract?
It's 0.21 and 1.48, I believe.
Okay, it's 2 parcels?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we'll get the map corrected. Gives it frontage on the Elm Springs Road, which helps, because that long narrow flag is kind of strange.
Okay.
Okay.
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Staff comments?
The comprehensive land use plan indicates low density residential area for the area, but the rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies and is recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations, ensure adequate land allocation for commercial areas of sufficient size and proper location, encourage the development of a wide range of commercial development for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers.
Is there any comments from the commission?
I just want to make sure that I'm in the right place. So 5776 is part of this as
Yes.
well, so we have a rectangle, not a
Right,
flag.
not a flag,
Okay.
yes. Because a flag is kind of strange.
Thank you.
Just west of 56th Street, is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, it's just west of the roundabout. It's not the property on the corner where the roundabout went through, but it's the next property over, I believe.
Do we have any comments from the audience? If you could come to the microphone.
So my name is Winfriedus Bakker. We are the direct neighbor of that property. We have some concerns. We have next to the property a fairly large pond, and people are always attracted to ponds, children also. So we have some questions. What will be done to avoid people getting to the pond? We don't want anybody to get drowned over there. That is one of the questions. The second one is that house is pretty old. If they're going to remodel only inside, is that structure large enough to get a modern kitchen in there? What is happening with sewer? Okay, that house is probably 40 years old, so the septic system is probably not able to cope with what the restaurant or the coffee shop would supply to that sewer system, to the septic tank.
Okay, tonight we're really just talking about the rezoning of the property. They will be required to come back with a large-scale development plan to show us how they are going to build something on that site that meets commercial design standards. They will also be required to do screening between their property and yours, which usually consists of a fence with landscaping that goes with it. That will all be submitted with the large-scale development plan, but it has to be rezoned to commercial first before they would move forward with a large-scale development plan.
Okay. Will that restaurant have an alcohol permit?
That I can't answer for you because the zoning doesn't address whether or not it has alcohol. That is handled by the ABC in Little Rock, and we can't permit that stuff through the city.
Okay.
Are there any more questions or comments? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. David.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance. It goes to council on the 28th.
Next, we have Kevin and Lucia Wang, MF 12 to C2, presented by Kevin and Lucia Wang.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Wang, and this is my wife, Lucy. We are the owners of the property on 1201 Henrietta Street, and we are requesting to rezone it from MF 12 to C2. We purchased this property in April of this year, and the prior owners had it operating as a beauty salon for the last several years. Since taking ownership, we have already discussed with the planning office and are in process of completing the business license and final inspection to continue operating it as a beauty salon. However, with this request, we are wanting to change the zoning officially to match the other C2 adjacent commercial properties. With that, any questions? Thank you.
Staff comments?
The comprehensive land use plan indicates commercial use. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies and is recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations. Encourage the development of a wide range of commercial development for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers, and promote the viability of older commercial properties as well as new commercial development.
Any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Okay, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Mark.
Call for the vote by Mr. Cloud.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance. It goes to council on the 28th.
Next is Long Lichens LLC, A1 to C2, presented by Half and Associates.
Hi, my name is Isaiah Philly with Half Associates, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. What we are applying for is a rezone from A1 to C2 on the probably eastern 2/3. Yeah, the two eastern parcels there. Those are currently zoned at A1, and we're requesting to rezone to C2. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Staff comments?
The land use plan indicates regional commercial use. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies as recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations, assure adequate land allocation for commercial areas of sufficient size and in proper locations, encourage the development of a wide range of commercial developments for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers.
Any comments from the commission?
Was this the landscaping place once upon a time?
They used a little bit of that just south of Jennifer Terrace. A lot of this is where the landfill was.
Okay, so it is where the landfill used to be?
Yeah, part of it is, yeah.
Any comments from the audience? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote?
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Cloud, Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance. It goes to council on the 28th.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robert and Sherry Squires, A1 to MF4, presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. Our request tonight's to rezone this property from A1 to MF4, and I'll answer any questions.
Staff comments?
The comprehensive land use plan indicates low-density residential. The rezoning is in keeping with the following goals and policies as recommended for approval. Appropriate locations for single-family and multifamily residential development. provided based on accessibility, site suitability, utility availability, neighborhood compatibility, and environmental factors, assure adequate land allocation for residential purpose by providing lots of adequate size, and encourages development of a variety of housing types appropriate to the size and income of all households living and working in Springdale.
Any comments from the commission? Okay, do we have any comments from the audience? If you could step up to the microphone and state your name and address.
Holly Jones, 3098 Sagely, and I back up to the property in question. I'm here representing Thornbury Subdivision, POA. The Board of Directors of the Property Owners Association is submitting this letter to express our opposition to rezoning the property at 3289 Stoltz Road from agricultural A1 to multifamily 4. The Thornbury subdivision is adjacent to the property under consideration. There are a myriad of reasons for our opposition. First, the entire area in the northern part of Springdale, in that area right there, is comprised of single-family home dwellings. Historically, this has been the case for this area of Springdale. The proposed MF4 rezoning in the middle of these single-family homes is inconsistent with the neighborhood footprint of this district. The community character, which attracts so many new residents to Springdale, will be permanently and negatively affected if the board approves the rezoning. For this reason, please vote no to the rezoning. Second, noise, traffic, and congestion will rise to a very high level if the property becomes MF4. The impact of this condition will have negative ramifications throughout this currently quiet, calm region of Springdale. For this reason, please vote no. Third, strains on the infrastructure will exceed its current capabilities. Upon examination of the current road network and conditions, as well as the current support and amenity resources, it's clear that MF4 developments are not supportable by the existing infrastructure. Fourth, many, if not all, of the subdivisions in this north side of Springdale have bylaws or covenants that describe and enforce rules which maintain uniformity and property values for the homeowners. These rules include construction requirements, prohibited practices, such as animal husbandry, parking restrictions, such as campers or trailers in the driveways, or yards beyond short periods of time. We actually have a 2-day, you can't even put a travel trailer or an RV in your driveway. Landscape, we have lawn requirements that we are establishing and maintaining. A cursory examination of MF4 properties in Springdale reveals that oftentimes similar standards are either not required or not enforced. We think it would be an unsuitable consequence. And also, there is no cushion between, historically in Springdale, between multifamily, single family, and commercial. There's multifamily 2 and multifamily 4. There's no cushion, so that whole area, I think I have someone else that's going to speak on that also. Do you have any questions for me?
We do have several other comments letters that we received and emails. If y'all will stipulate that those all get put in the record, there was some in your packet, and then there's a packet laying on the table tonight. Okay.
Betsy, this is Peyton. Can you just confirm, this is A1 now, right? Animal husbandry, is that permitted as a current use currently?
In an A1 zone, yes.
Is it allowed in a MF4?
No.
Okay, thank you.
We got other comments?
Does anyone have any questions for me? I think there are some other people that wanted to speak to the commission.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Jay Penix. I live at 3511 North Stults Road, which is the property next to the north of this property. This is not a good rezoning. You really can't support this at all. The entire region, and if you look at some of the bigger plats, you'll see that this is a very, very large, very old, and well-defined single-family residential development. As I understand it, the long-term plan, the land use plan, has not been changed. This is still single-family dwelling throughout. I'm familiar with the development of this area. I moved out here in 1994. At that point in time, the property was Ag A1, and it's still A1. And everybody that bought property and developed out there relied on the property staying A1 and everybody that bought property in the developing Thornberry, Windsor, Steeplechase, and all the other several subdivisions out there, all of which are zoned single-family, relied on that too. It's a little late in the game to inject multifamily housing in such an old and such a well-defined residential area. The big problem I have with this is that if this zone is granted, if this property is rezoned MF4, then any of the contiguous property owners could come in turn and ask for their property to be rezoned MF4. The effect of this, and in the decades to come, it's going to happen, but it's not there now. The effect to the neighborhood of this multifamily rezoning and the future multifamily rezonings to come, I'm not going to say it would destroy the neighborhood, that's too strong a term, but it would greatly impair the value and the willingness of people to live out there. Thank you.
Kaiden Ray, I'm at 3052 Sagely, so I back up. I've been a resident since 2005. I think the previous two have stated very nicely the rationale as to opposing changing now in this neighborhood, in this area, an A1 to MF4. So I won't labor the point, but I just want I know I've sent a letter to each of you, so hopefully you got it. I just wanted to physically be here and make sure my opposition was heard. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Steve Knoll, and I live at 3140 Sagely Lane. I had handed out a one-page little map to everyone tonight, and I kind of want to cover that. MF4 zoning for the property at 3289 Stults is incompatible with the 4 adjoining subdivisions. It's also, as they pointed out, there is single family all the way from 71B to 40th Street, from Wagon Wheel down to Bacchus, and there are only 2 MF4 zones in that area. One is on 71B and the other is on Wagon Wheel. Other than that, it's a sea of single-family residences, and it would be a big mistake to allow multifamily. Stults Road, which is the road running north and south there, on the master street plan calls for a width of 36 feet. However, the North Stults Road is only 30 feet wide. So it's 6 feet less than the Springdale plan calls for. This presents a major safety issue. It also has a double yellow line all the way from West Stults down past we refer to it as the one-lane bridge, but it's to the new bridge. There's a double yellow line the entire length. And it includes the double line in front of the property we're addressing here tonight. This presents dangerous issues due to a narrow road. There will be a high probability that cars are going to be parked on the street. The high concentrations of cars parked on the street are going to force drivers to cross the double yellow line and drive in the opposing traffic lane. Multifamily dwellings will also include children. And this presents an accident waiting to happen because the street's so narrow, drivers are not going to have time to react to the children. Narrow streets with parked cars would not be easily accessible to emergency vehicles. For the incompatibility and safety reasons, please vote no to the rezoning. Thank you.
My name is Lisa. I reside at 4441 Essex Cove in Windsor subdivision. We bought 4 years ago specifically because we loved the neighborhood, which includes Steeplechase, Monticello, Windsor, Thornberry. I will try not to repeat what has already been said, but to give you a different viewpoint. My key points: the intersection of Stults and Pump Station is utilized by a very wide swath of this community, probably wider than you are aware of, including school buses, maintenance, trash pickup, many people leaving for work beginning at 7 a.m. every morning, and they tail me every morning because I go to the trailhead every morning, and that's one thing people have not talked about, is Lake Springdale, which is right there. Our home is 1 mile from 3289 Stultz Road. So I go past there all the time at that intersection. People also use that intersection trying to avoid having to turn left onto Wagon Wheel from Stultz because that's a stop sign. And if you go past the trailhead and to Silent Grove, you can get a light. So they use that a lot. People use the trailhead all year long. I go 365 days a year. Some ride their bikes, some walk their dogs to the park. People drive and park there to walk, bike, fish, play, volleyball, utilize the Frisbee golf course, and those of us who, of course, walk our dogs after parking there. Add to that the stream of city workers who are constantly running damage control at Lake Springdale. That right now, as you know, the last big storm, the entire parking lot caved in. We have huge boulders that went across the park. It is constantly, as they have the springs that run over the street, right at that intersection. People already speed since the bridge has been rebuilt. I'm constantly tailed. I want you to please, please appreciate the added stress that a multifamily dwelling would have on the precise intersection under discussion. It is dangerous. There are $1 million homes in Thornberry. If you're going down Stultz, you have home, the backyards, and then you have this property that would be multifamily, completely uncharacteristic and inconsistent with that entire area that is 30 years old. We all know Northwest Arkansas is growing. We see it. We see all the buildings, the condos, the townhouses. I come from Los Angeles. I am a cautionary tale to you. Please be careful. This is a direct affront to all the people who bought these single-family homes and created the patina that it has there because of their care and the careful planning. There is no logic that I can find to this rezoning proposal, except perhaps for the profit to the people who would have it rezoned. So I ask you to please use wisdom, consider the people who love the area, and vote no on this proposal.
Hi, my name is Frank Morton. I'm in the neighborhood just north of what you see there at Andover Avenue in Monticello, and I'm just representing the board on the Monticello POA and several neighbors who have expressed to me the adverse effect that the property in question is going to result on their property values. I'm not going to go through everything that's been said. They stated it very well. I just wanted my objection and our objection to be heard. Thank you.
I'm Randall Harriman, 3262 Sagely Lane. I just want to echo some of the sentiments of my neighbors as well, but I do feel like this MF4 is spot zoning, and it's particularly out of place in this area. I feel the commission would be hard pressed to find another MF4 with similar surroundings of 4,000 to 6,000 square foot single family residences. Thank you.
I'm Jim Fuller. My place is the 3073 on the south, and I'm the guy that sold the property to the one that built 3355. And with the intentions, there was already with the Thornberry people concerned about what's going to happen to that gully that's there. And when they built that house and he wanted that land, he was going to put his office in that little house that's there. It's not there now. And the last I knew, the last time I talked to him about this, I had offered, since he didn't sell the land with the house, that about buying it back and the possibility of buying it back. And that was in, I think I put in the notes in November, but it was October the 25th. And he told me, that was on the phone that he told me this, that he was thinking about, he didn't want to sell it, that they was possibly going to build back. And I took that to being a house. So anyway, I agree with what's been said about the traffic, and I've been there a long time. I bought my place in the early 80s. And so I've seen that before there's any paved road, before anything was out there. And it's come a long, long change, and I agree with what they said. The other, that gully is not a compatible place. There's a 50-foot drainage right-of-way right down the middle, and that takes almost all of that. So unless there's a lot of bulldozing and somebody agrees to change something, I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna put much on there, but without knowing, I would not agree to any of this. So I appreciate y'all taking a better look at it, and it shouldn't be done, but I would appreciate a vote against it. Thank you.
My name is Thelma Jean McLean, and I own 3355 North Stoltz. I want to support everything that's been said here in all of the documents that were submitted in writing. I live in a place that if you sat in the room where my office is, you would see the reason why there is no way that this should be approved. The traffic travels at high rates of speed. I regularly see passing around FedEx trucks that are slowing down to turn either onto Old Pump Station or into one of the residences. I've seen buses with children in them pass because they're not moving fast enough. Rarely is there a stop at the stop sign when you're coming up Old Pump to either go to the new bridge or to turn to go north on North Stoltz. Rarely is there a stop made. And if you actually went out and looked at that property, you would see what Mr. Miller was saying is that there's not a lot of room to build unless someone's going to haul in a lot of dirt. If you looked at the slope of where the houses are built above, something would have to be done to shore that up so that, you know, with all of the drainage and all of the rain and everything, that it was safe for the homes of those who live above and for those who actually would live there. I can't see how a multifamily unit would work just because of the lack of safety. And also just, the infrastructure is just not there to support it. That's not even to mention the wildlife. There's so much wildlife of all different kinds, even turtles that are like this big that are trying to get over the road. So if we just compound that without changing the infrastructure, it seems like it would be a very poor decision. But if you have any questions, I wrote a short request for you to deny this request. And I've even investigated attempting to buy it at a reasonable fee so it could just, you know, either be donated to, you know, an organization that would make it for wildlife, or that land could be there so that it's safe where we all live and it's safe for all the creatures and all the plants and the trees that help us all stay healthy. So I strongly request that you deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Alessandro McLean. I also live at 3355 North Stoltz Road. I echo all other sentiments. I just want to add one other thing. This was actually a natural lake at one point. It's at a very low point. It was a lake and it was drained by Lake Springdale. I couldn't imagine what you would have to do to actually make this a livable and sensible dwelling for humans.
Is there any more comments? Does the applicant want to say anything?
This is Zach Kiefer with Moses Tucker. I'm acting as the developer. Just a few things I want to note. We're not maxing out the zoning of the property. We do plan to preserve the natural green space around the creek and the back side of the property. So the east side, close to Thornberry, there's a creek going through the middle of the property. Basically, we would be using everything to the west side. So you would have a significant landscape buffer offering privacy to those homes to the east. We feel like it's a good infill site. We've done our research. We feel like it's a viable play. Thank you.
This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Compton,
No.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
No.
Austin. Cloud.
This does not pass, 4-3.
The applicant has the right to appeal the planning commission's decision to the city council. The appeal has to be filed in the city clerk's office within 15 days. You need to indicate why you think the planning commission's decision was in error, and you need to notify the adjacent property owners again, and then it will be placed on, more than likely, it will be the planning commission agenda on the 28th, because we have to have time to get all the documents together.
The council meeting. not planning commission.
Oh, I'm sorry, city council, not planning commission, I'm sorry.
Okay, next, Elemental Properties LLC, rezoning from C2 to C5, presented by Kel K. Bowling.
Yes, hello, Cale Bowling with Friday Eldridge and Clark. I'm here on behalf of Elemental Properties. We are requesting a minor rezoning of the property from C2 to C5. And I'm happy to address any questions from the commission.
Staff comments?
This also has a conditional use for a use unit 25. If you'll remember, they came in and asked for it to be rezoned to an industrial zone. That was denied. We met with the property owner. Their application will fit in a C5 zone with a conditional use, and that's what they came forward with. The comprehensive land use plan indicates regional commercial use for the area. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies. The comprehensive land use plan is recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations. Assure adequate land allocation for commercial areas of sufficient size and in proper locations. And encourage the development of a wide range of commercial development for the residents and tourists to include neighborhood, community, and regional centers.
Are there any comments from the commission? Do I have any comments from the audience? Okay, do we do the rezoning first?
Yeah.
This is a call for the vote for the rezoning.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin. Cloud. Compton.
Yes.
That passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare the ordinance and it goes to council on the 28th. And now we have the conditional use.
Is that also a call for the vote?
Yeah, let me go over the details of the conditional use. Can we get to the site plan for it? Okay, they have submitted a site plan. The ingress and egress to the property is acceptable. The off-street parking and loading areas is acceptable. The refuse and service areas is acceptable. Utilities, screening is acceptable. Their proposed sign location is acceptable. The yard requirements and other specs, requirements are acceptable. Size and shape of the site is acceptable. The proposed landscaping meet the requirements of the ordinance. And they'll come back with a large-scale development plan, but I don't think there'll be any variances, at least not at this point. It is generally compatible with the adjacent properties and other property in the general district.
Any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Okay, this is also a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Dr. Compton.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin. Cloud. Compton.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare, the resolution goes to council on the 28th.
Next is Mountain View Springdale LLC. This is a rezoning from NR1 to NC2 presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. We're requesting this 1.8 acre piece of property on Mountain View to be rezoned from NR1 to NC2.
Technically, it's not a rezoning. It is an amendment to the form-based code regulatory plan to allow this property to become NC2, or yes, NC2, as opposed to NR1. And if you look at that, is there a drawing that shows how that's all put together? One more. There, yeah. So you'll see all the property to the north of that is included in the NC2. Staff recommends that this be, the regulatory map be amended and this property be added to that NC2. It's all under the form-based code. It's just a different type of building types that would be allowed in the two different districts.
Any comments from the commission?
Betsy, can you briefly cover the differences in the buildings between those two?
The NR1 allows for detached single-family dwellings, duplexes, rear garages, detached single-family bungalows, and duplex bungalows. The NC2 allows for a different type of development, which would allow triplexes and fourplexes, row houses, courtyard buildings, commercial block buildings, live-work units, liner buildings, and civic units. All that have to meet the form-based code. With the bottom floor has the ability to have either residential and or commercial in an NC2 that is not allowed in an NR1.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from the audience? If you could come up to the mic, state your name and address.
My name's Aubrey Robertson, and I live at the 507 Crutcher Street. It's 815 or something like that on the big pie-shaped property there, just west of this property. Me and my wife bought this property 9 years ago, and it was a pretty quiet neighborhood. That's why we bought it. We upgraded a lot. We've had a lot of people move in and out. The reason I would like for this not to be able to be passed is on Caudle over here, the railroad closed down the one of the railroad overpass or railroad tracks, and therefore it directs traffic around on Crutcher Street. That street has now become, because of those railroad tracks being shut down, has become the main thoroughfare to go over to the new road that was put by the fire department, and they put a new railroad crossing there. I've had my gas meter taken out because of the extra traffic. They fly down that road. We've had a bird bath, a beautiful bird bath that I bought my wife for Mother's Day, and it was taken out. I think when we moved there 9 years ago, it was a really good neighborhood. It started getting graffiti. They've kind of started encroaching on this property, and there's not really a lot of multifamily dwellings there. This bigger property, the 815, is just an open field, and my kids have played out there. All the kids in the neighborhood play there. I think with the multifamily, you're just asking for more ethnic groups or more diverse people to move in there. You're going to have more people living over top of other people that, sometimes you can't even, you don't get along with family members living with them. When you have multi-families living in one big house, they're not going to, you're going to have problems. We're going to get more traffic. They're not gonna be able to go down Caudle. They're gonna have to come down Crutcher Street to go over to the new road that they just put in over there. I just don't see it being a good fit for, Springdale. I've got the biggest property, the biggest lot on that street, which is almost 3/4 of an acre. That's why I bought the place, is because we had a big lot. When we start dividing it up and putting multifamily, then it's gonna encroach. My value on my property has almost quadrupled since I moved there. And if we start putting in multifamily, I can't put it as elegantly as these ladies did earlier, but there's just so much that it's just gonna take away that the value of my house is not, I don't know. I just don't, it's gonna bring in more of the graffiti, a lot more violence, because, you're gonna have multifamilies living in one little small area, and I think it's just gonna cause conflict and a lot of problems that we don't really need. And there's just not enough road. That's a really narrow road there on Mountain View. And to put a multifamily duplex or something there, it's gonna cost, we're gonna have to do the infrastructure, we're gonna have to make the roads bigger. I love my house, and I would rather keep it like it is. And, we've got Emma growing, we've got people that, work on Emma on that street. It's a good place to live. And I think if we start adding multifamilies into this housing area was developed in the 70s. 1978 was when my house was built. And you wouldn't tell it now because we've done upgrades, but I don't want it. And I just don't think it's a good fit for that area. And I'd appreciate it if y'all voted no.
Thank you. Do we have any more comments?
Hi, kind of nervous. We have been.
Can you state your name?
Oh,
and
sorry.
address?
Wendy and Yolanda Rico at 403 Mountain View. We're the second property from Dodson to the right. So we're right across from the property. So we have been Springdale residents since '98, almost 25 years. Been at 403 Mountain View residency since '99. That's 23 years. The neighborhood was chosen for several important reasons. The calmness, very minimal traffic, no front nor back door neighbors, safe for everyone, especially kids. Secluded, yet near downtown Springdale and accessible to pretty much everything that Springdale has to offer. With this new development, all these will vanish, and they are main concerns that we will, it's the main concern that we will no longer have what I just stated. I drive to my parents every day to drop off and pick up my child. We have good neighbors. There is a road construction on Caudle and part of on Caudle and Park, and the detour goes through Mountain View as of right now. We are already getting a sample of how it would be if it gets approved. Extreme traffic, noisy, unsafe for everyone, no privacy, don't want to lose our property. If they expand the street, we'll probably lose some of the front yard property. And I'm not really sure, but we might lose the property value, will decrease. And we don't want Mountain View, Dawson, and surrounding streets to turn into a cluster mess. We don't want to lose the nature that this property offers, since Arkansas is the natural state. We are seeing apartment complexes going up everywhere, and it's a downer to see the neighbors lose all of this. And we don't want to be next. So that's pretty much it. And as a side note, we received the letter in the mail in English. My sister and I, we had to translate to my mom what it meant. And so, because she doesn't speak fully English, she doesn't really fully understand. And this neighborhood is majority non-English speaking and multicultural. So if for future notices, if we can receive them in a language other than English, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
My name's Alexis, and I'm translating for her, Juana Martinez at 601 Dodson Street. So her house is directly across from that field. And kind of what the person said earlier, you know, putting a multifamily, I guess triplex or duplex or something is going to bring definitely a lot more traffic to the neighborhood. And right now, we're kind of very close-knit of a community. And so we just feel like it's going to just bring a lot. So essentially, we're just against the vote of making this like a multifamily, like law, I guess. We were fine with a single-family home type of situation. I think that's it. Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin, Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
No.
Mueller.
Yes. This passes 6-1.
Staff will prepare the ordinance that goes to council on the 28th.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is Oceanfront Estates. Under preliminary plats, pre-plats, and final plats. Presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. We're here tonight for a preliminary plat for Oceanfront Estates. It's 5 acres on the north side of County Line. It's zoned MF 12, proposing a duplex style subdivision. We are requesting a waiver of street improvements with fee in lieu.
Do you have
Option. As
payment
an
in lieu
option.
of improvements?
Yes, ma'am. And I'll answer any other questions.
Staff comments?
Planning only has standard comments for this.
I have some comments, you know, understanding that construction plans will come later and we're just looking at the plat tonight. Submit a signed PDF of the drainage report, show sod in the detention pond, show street improvements on County Line Road for which the waiver has been requested. Please provide an accessible route to cross the street. Revise note 1 regarding streetlights and revise note 11 regarding lot numbers, and apply for your grading permit.
I just have to ask Jason, where'd you come up with the name? I mean, it's quite unique to have
That's not
Oceanfront.
me. I can guarantee it's not me.
what? I know we're running out of names. I just have to ask the question. How we got Oceanfront?
Yeah.
It is different. We will remember it.
And Patsy, I will say that I appreciate the clip art detail that we have near the name as well.
I'll thank my staff for that one.
Does the commission have any questions? Any questions from the audience? Take the,
With the waiver, with the payment in lieu of, you don't really have to take action on that if you're willing to do payment in lieu of improvements. Okay, this becomes a motion. Subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments.
motion by Mr. Peters,
Second.
second by Mr. Cloud.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker.
Yes.
this passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, large-scale developments. We have Windwood Lane duplexes presented by Earth Plan Design Alternatives.
My name is James Gertz with EDA. We're bringing a large scale to you today. It has 2 duplexes to put into an existing duplex development. Here to answer any questions you may have.
Staff comments?
Staff only has standard comments remaining.
Engineering has standard comments on. So there's 1 duplex under construction right now, and you're proposing to add 2 more.
Correct.
Okay. The 1 duplex could be added without having to come back, but when they wanted to add 2 more, they had to do an amendment because we had to address some other issues with that.
Correct.
Any questions from the commission?
I'm sure this has been checked, but what's the density with the new?
It doesn't exceed the zoning.
Not
Check
very
that.
accurate, but okay.
Check that. I can't tell you what it is off the top of my head. Tell us what the density is.
I could not do that off the top of my
I
head
don't
either.
remember,
Yeah.
but we checked it. That was the very first thing we checked.
Okay.
Was
I
to make
knew-
sure we weren't exceeding the density of that.
And we made sure it met fire code for the number of
Right.
units for the single entrance.
And they have the ability to turn a fire truck around. So we went through all that first before we got this far.
Is there any comments from the audience? Okay, this is a motion subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments.
Motion by Mr. Peters,
Second.
second by Mr. Cloud.
Austin?
Yes.
Cloud?
Yes.
Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
This passes 7-0. Next, we have Bright Haven Learning Center, presented by Earth Plan Design Alternatives, also a variance for reduction of required parking spaces.
Again, I'm James Gertz with EDA. You saw this project, I believe, last month. The owner decided to add a gymnasium open space to the rear of the building, added about 2,500 square feet. So we've amended that large scale, and that brought in needing about 4 more parking stalls, and we're not adding any classrooms or offices. So we're actually asking for a reduction of the 4 parking stalls, the added square footage brought in.
Outside of standard comments, the only thing is a variance has been requested for a change in required parking spaces from 74 down to 50.
Engineering has nothing else either. And I want to say y'all did a good job of blending it into the structure. Because originally we looked at it, was kind of a freestanding. Y'all decided to blend it in and make it part of that structure. It looks a lot better than what you first proposed.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Any questions from the commission?
Are the parking spaces the same as last time you presented to us?
Correct, yes, we're staying with the same 50 that got approved previously.
Do I have any questions from the audience? Is the large scale motion?
Motion subject to staff comments.
The large scale is a motion subject to staff comments.
We want to do the variance first?
Oh, yeah, we'll do the variance first.
Call
The
for the
variance
vote
is a
on
call for the
variance.
vote, yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
Cloud?
Yes.
Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Motion to approve subject to staff comments.
Motion by Mr. Peters,
Second.
second by Mr. Cloud.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
Cloud?
Yes.
Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes. That passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next is Bridgers Crossing, Old Missouri Road and Electric Avenue, in a variance of the parking requirement presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. So we're proposing 40 townhome style units on this property. Our request or our variance request is basically asking you to include the garage parking in the parking calculation. Currently, it's not allowed. We do have the appropriate number of parking spaces if you include the garage parking. So I'll answer your other questions.
Staff comments?
In addition to standard comments, screening
Wait, can
fences.
you just speak up a little bit? You're hard to hear.
In addition to standard comments, a screening fence is required in accordance with Chapter 56, showing trees associated with screen. Chapter 56, Section 38, is this property is adjacent to single-family requiring opaque screening and commercial requiring semi-opaque screening. Variance has been requested for a parking requirement, as you can see on the screen above. And finally, pedestrian access and control in the multifamily design standards. It appears there's a missing sidewalk in the northwestern portions of the development.
Engineering comments. My biggest concern on this one is that the pond is really close to those two apartment buildings, and we need to have a full 20-foot between the maximum ponding level of the detention pond and any adjacent structures. We also need to relocate the street light that's shown in the middle of the sidewalk near the pond, and provide an accessible route to the playgrounds and amenities. This route should include a hard surface to and under the amenities to allow full use of that amenity. Show concrete apron for the drive on the paving plan, and submit a PDF of the signed and sealed drainage report.
Jason, you want to address those comments?
I think we can move the pond to the west, potentially, and try to get that 20 feet there. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Sidewalk connectivity, we can add sidewalk to the northwest corner, and then along that parking row in front of the amenities. I think they'll take care of the sidewalk and add the appropriate screening as stated.
Okay, you have that building in the northwest corner set at 0. That means the eaves can't overhang into that setback 2?
We understand.
You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make sure that note's on here too.
Any questions from the commission?
Shannon, this is Peyton. I just, with the parking variance request, do we typically, I don't know that I recall us ever doing this since I've been on the commission, but Patsy, or does anybody else have a little bit of context about whether we've counted garages? Because I think that's a great idea, but I also live in reality and know that the vast majority of people fill their garage up with stuff. So is that something we've typically done?
I don't know of another instance where we've done that. And we've asked that question, what kind of provisions are put into the maintenance plan for this project or the operation for this project that you can't use your garage for anything other than to park cars in?
And I think we can write that in the lease.
I think you get, sorry, Jason, go ahead.
My opinion is that, I think the garage style is desired. And if we don't get any benefit for the garage style unit, then why would we waste the space for a garage and we just put a parking lot in the front? So, I think there's a benefit for having garages. And we're not asking for a variance of.
But it does have parking in front already, right?
You do have the standard driveways, yes.
Standard driveway where they could park. Here's the thing. I understand you can put it in the lease, but I just don't think that means anything. I just think that's very, I'm just trying to be realistic. I've lived in my own house and with neighbors, and I just know what reality has told me. And I just don't think, I think personally, yeah, just convert it into living space. Why not? That's kind of how I feel. But I just think we're probably fooling ourselves a little bit if we think that how many spaces are we talking about counting here? Garage spaces? Apologize, I don't have it right in front of me.
2021, maybe? 20,
Boy, I just think, guys, I just think it's very unlikely that all 21 of those spots get used for cars. And I think the cars end up out on the street anyhow. So I guess, I mean, I don't know.
Well, my
I
concern.
just don't want to, I just don't want to set a precedent for doing this, even if, you know, even in this particular development, maybe that happens. I've yet to see that, you know, really consistently across a lot of developments where I think we've seen stuff ends up in the garage anyhow, it just becomes storage. So that's my comment. I understand the request. I just don't know that it's realistic.
Hey, Jason, what was the thought process of doing those back 3 units with garage parking? I'm just curious what led to that decision when the other ones are not like that. I'm just curious.
just a different style.
Yeah. Just
You know,
offer a
trying
different
not to
product to
have,
the market.
you know, another 3 buildings that are the same. Yeah, just offering a different product.
I'm a little concerned with addressing it this way by saying garages count, because there's other ordinances that rely on garage spaces and say that they don't count. So I would be more apt to give a variance for the number of parking spaces than I would to say I'm counting the garage spaces.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not saying I'm in favor of that variance, I'm just saying that I'd rather do that than say garages count, because then down the road we'll be faced with some garages that we don't want to count, that this precedent will be thrown up.
Basically, you're asking for a variance of 21 spaces,
I would
as
prefer
required.
that variance to the,
Right.
we're gonna count the garages.
and your justification is because you have parking in garages. You're really asking for that variance of 21 spaces.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really, we weren't asking for the variance. I mean, it was just, you know, I don't know, I mean,
I think it's the same net effect, it's just a difference of theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same net effect. It's just a more realistic idea of what, you know, what'll happen.
but I mean, I think you can get higher rents out of garage spaces and units that have garages and, you know, I think you're just losing the idea of garages. I mean, why would we put a garage in there why would we put any garage units in there if we can't use it as parking? I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, justify it to my client, figure out, you know, hey, we're trying to do something that's a little bit different style.
I think what we're saying though, Jason, is maybe the approach is leave the garages, request a variance for the parking. That's a more, that doesn't put the commission in a position where we've made an exception for you that on 8, you know, however many years I've been on this, we've never done, you know?
Well, but I don't think it was ever, we put garage units in and I think we probably counted them in some aspect. You know, I don't know that, but I mean,
I don't know of one unless you know of one off the top of your head, because we usually count the number of spaces based on 2 parking, you know, the formula that's in the ordinance as off-street parking. So could you amend your variance request to ask for a variance of 21 spaces? That's what we're asking you. Can you make this variance request for a variance
I
of 21
mean,
spaces?
if I can amend it tonight, yeah, I'd gladly do that.
Well, basically, that's what you're asking for is 21 less parking spaces with your justification that those spaces are provided as part of the garage.
26.
It's just
I just counted them off.
the way
I
it's
mean, I
worded.
just,
How many? Whatever the number is, I took his word for it, I didn't count
yeah,
it.
sorry, I counted them and it's on our plan. It's 26, I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's 26 spaces rather than, so how many spaces are you providing?
So we have 105 less than 26. 74. For, it does, and we've counted that. We've taken the count of the driveway spaces. We got 26 driveway spaces.
How many units are there again?
There's 40 total units. And so we're gonna have, I mean, other requests that we've done is, 2 per unit. And it's, if you do the math, I mean, it's 76, right? 79 out of 80, so we got 40 units. So we'd still have close to 2 per unit without counting the garages.
But we require, how many per unit?
What's the formula? What do you show is required?
Let me see,
So small I can't read it.
it's 3 for the first 20, 2.25 for the next 50, and then 175 for the next 70. So comes out to 105. Which seems like a lot for 40 units, if you ask me. That's what the code says.
So it's 105 spaces are required for 40 units. And you will be providing 74?
79.
79. So you're asking to have your variance request to reduce the number of parking spaces from 105 to 79. Does that work?
Yes.
Is that better?
I prefer that.
You will
I'm
amend.
sorry for the semantics on this. I just don't want us to get down the road and have, well, we counted the garage spaces, I'd like that to just kind of leave that to a project by project, determination.
And maybe we need to address our whole parking requirements and see if that's something we need to address anyway.
I think we should.
We talked about.
And I think Jason, and I think they should put it in the lease, but, there's just both sides.
Okay, do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, this would be a call for the vote for the variance of the parking requirement. Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Cloud,
Cloud?
you beat me.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes. This passes 7-0. Now we have a large scale motion subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments.
Motion by Mr. Peters,
Second.
second by Mr. David.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker.
Yes.
passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have Big Emma, presented by Crafton Toll and Associates.
Thank you. Good evening. Bradley Bridges with Craft and Toll. This large scale, we have 77 units, 3 buildings, and have our architect in-house here with us tonight. Be happy to answer any questions.
Staff comments?
Planning comments. Submit a build-to-line deviation request for primary and side street. Submit an informal plat for easement dedication and right-of-way dedication along Park Street and Meadow Avenue. And we've talked to the applicants and they've acknowledged this, and the remaining are just standard comments.
So my comments are regarding the permeable paver system that they're using for detention. We've worked with the consultants and we've come up with a solution for this. So they were rerunning some calculations, so I just need to see the final design and then show that paver area on the paving plan so we can see how much it's going to take up in the parking lot, and then revise your details about the streetlights so I can get you that language.
The deviation for the Bill 2 line is, if you will remember, we've been talking about the need for a change in our ordinance or in our form-based code, and I think that'll come out after we finish the rest of the form-based code revisions. But in the time being, you'll have to ask for that deviation.
Certainly. We'll
We
get that
might have it
submitted.
ready in the next month or
I-
so.
I think we have the letter written. I just
Yeah.
need to submit it.
Can you go to the elevation so everybody can see what they look like?
Does the commission have any comments?
Was the same architect used Luna Emma, or is it similar design as Luna Emma?
No, it's a different architect.
Bevan with Build Architects.
Any comments from the audience? This will be a motion subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments?
Motion by Mr. Peters. Second by Mr. Austin.
We need one of those boards that the light comes on.
Austin?
Yes.
Cloud? Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
This passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have Gilbert Martinez Rendon. Variance for reduction of side setback from 8 feet to 5.6 feet, presented by Gilbert Martinez Rendon. Should we move to the next one?
Yeah, let's go. We'll come back to that.
Okay, we'll come back to that one.
Oh, no, it's,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Oh, there he is.
Hi.
Hi. Could you
Hi,
tell-
this,
Go
oh.
ahead.
This is Gilbert from 1131 Apache. And I'm just have a request for a reduction from 8 feet to 5.6 inch in order to build a deck.
Ed, do you have any comments on this one?
Yeah, we've got a permit application for this. It was placed on hold pending, because it was in the setbacks. As usual, the fire department's not here to say it, but the fire department doesn't support, variances in the rear setback. But this is actually a side setback, so they don't set.
It says 2 sides and 2 fronts. It's a corner lot, right?
Any comments from the commission? Do I have any comments from the audience? Okay, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Parker.
Cloud?
Yes.
Compton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
And it passes 7-0.
You need to get with the building department to get your permit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, Andrew and Rebecca Epson. Variance for reduction of rear setback from 20 feet to 6 feet. Variance for reduction of side setback from 8 feet to 5 feet, presented by Andrew and Rebecca Epson.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Ebsen.
Tell us about a little bit about what you're doing.
We need to put a shed in our backyard, and with the setback set at 20, it's way too close to the house. So that is a picture of the shed.
you have any staff comments?
This is an Ed thing too. You already have a pool in the backyard, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Ed, you want to comment on this one?
Again, the fire department, this is both a rear setback and a side setback, and the fire department doesn't support variances, neither one of those. This building is 160 square feet, so it's 40 feet over the 120 square feet that would allow it to be placed in this location if it was as a portable building.
If it was reduced to,
If it was 40 feet smaller, we wouldn't be.
okay.
Any comments from the commission?
Well, is a building that's 40 feet smaller just out of the question? Will it not serve your purpose?
What would that make my dimensions
10
to
by
my
12.
building? Like a 10 by 12? It might, but it's gonna be a little bit small. That's why we would rather have a little bit more. We've been there for almost 2 years and we are still paying for a storage building down the street.
Just for a general education, why is the fire department generally not like these types of requests?
A single building in a rear setback probably doesn't cause a problem. The problem is you take 4 lots all meeting at a corner and you put 4 160 square foot buildings all within about 2 feet of the property line. Now you've got a 2,400 square foot building when it catches on fire. So that's why we created the ordinance to allow for everybody to have a shed for their lawn equipment, 120 square feet. And that's the minimum size that doesn't require a permit from a commercial standpoint, so we could write it for both commercial and for residential structures. So that's how we got to the point where we used the 120 square feet. But yeah, we've never supported them. The fire code says there's supposed to be a 5-foot fire separation distance between the building and the property line, and this does meet that. It's just in Springdale, we've always wanted greater space because it allows the fire department a chance to fight fires between the buildings.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. David.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
No.
Mueller,
No.
Parker,
No.
Peters,
No.
Austin. Cloud.
This does not pass 5-2.
You have the right to appeal to the city council, the planning commission's denial. You have to file your appeal with the city clerk within 15 days. And you have to indicate why you think the planning commission's decision is in error and notify the adjacent property owners again.
Thank you.
Next is Martin Durkinderen and Brenda Linsmeyer, variance for reduction of front setback from 30 feet to 12 feet, presented by Martin Durkinderen and Brenda Linsmeyer.
Hi, thank you. I'm Brenda. This is Martin. We live at 998 Penny Lane. And we are requesting a setback reduction from the 30 feet to 12 feet in order to build on and extend a garage. We have the pictures there with the blue tape showing where the garage would end. And there's another picture that shows that it'd be even with the garage next door. There's a cul-de-sac there and a roundabout. So this shows that my car, a Suburban, and his pickup truck would both fit into the extended garage, and we would still be able to fit both vehicles on the driveway without going over the sidewalk.
Any comments from staff?
Ed, do you have any on this one? So how much space does that leave you without blocking the driveway to park a vehicle?
You mean for the sidewalk?
Yeah, not blocking the sidewalk.
It goes up to the sidewalk, but we do not cross over the sidewalk at all. Nose to nose.
Can we go back to the picture with the Suburban?
So the Suburban would be in the extended garage, and the pickup truck right there would be on the outside of the extended garage. And the pickup truck, you can see the Suburban in the bottom right-hand corner. There's the sidewalk line right there on that curve. So it is without crossing the line for the sidewalk.
Okay, any comments from the commission?
Do you plan to match the house?
Yes, that we showed the bricks. We did find out that those bricks are no longer exactly made in that same color, but we have been shown other similar colors or different materials that would match the house to, make it all look very nice.
What is your roof line? You do a pitch or?
Yeah. Same like everybody else in the neighborhood.
I have one question. What is the distance from your garage door to the sidewalk, the exact distance?
21 and 6 inches.
Big enough for 2 parking spots.
Any comments from the audience? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
No.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud, Compton.
No.
Passes 5-2.
You need to get a permit from the building inspection.
Thank you.
Next is Jonathan and Stephanie Anderson. Variance for reduction of rear setback from 35 feet to 10 feet, presented by Jonathan and Stephanie Anderson.
Hello, my name is John Anderson. My wife Stephanie, we're here to request a variance setback for a swimming pool from 35 feet to 10 feet from the property line. Our property adjoins Elmdale Lake, which is Arkansas Game and Fish property. Nothing would be able to be built between our house and the lake.
Comments from staff?
Ed, you might as well stay down here. These are yours.
This is a perfect example because of the previous conversation we had. This is a perfect example to show where even if they were to build a building, here being a pool, that it wouldn't impact anything because the neighbor's the lake.
Any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Parker.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud, Compton,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
This passes 7-0.
You need to get a permit from the building inspection office.
Thank you.
Next is David and Janice Whitmire. Variance for increased accessory building height from 16 feet to 22 feet, presented by David and Janice Whitmire.
Thank you. I'm David Whitmire. My wife is here as well. We are asking for a height variance for a building in my backyard. Now, I submitted some materials, but I don't see them. Are they available for folks? There is the survey of my property. Let's keep going. So you can see in the top right corner there, you can see the proposed building, and you can also see where my house is. I provided that to show that there is 40 feet from the side. I forget, 26 feet from the back of my house. And so there is no problem with any, there was 10 or more feet all the way around the proposed building site. The reason for the request is, I was at rehab earlier today for my knees, and so I'm asking for a height variance. I want 14-foot sidewalls so that I can put a car lift in that building. And then add to that the fact that my house is on a 612 pitch, that it won't fit in 16 feet. The 22 feet should work.
Ed, do you have any comments?
We got one opposition. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, we don't comment on height. It's an aesthetics issue.
We do have adjacent property owner that wants to speak.
Hi there, I'm Russ Rennerson. I'm at 101 East Henson Avenue. That's just to the north of the property. I tried to submit in writing. I'm not sure if it made it into
We
your
do,
pa- you
everybody
have
has
it?
a
Okay.
copy of that.
And I have a couple other neighbors who had written letters as well about the proposed construction. I'm speaking in opposition to the variance request. Again, sorry for the late submission on a couple of these letters, but I just want to address the height specifically. This is a pretty significant difference from code from 16 to 22. I do appreciate that David's trying to match the pitch and make it look correct, but when you look at granting a variance like this, you want to demonstrate hardship and hopefully have some mitigants. I don't know that the code creates a hardship on the property for what he's desiring. He can build an outbuilding. He's got plenty of room. He's got a great lot there to do it. I just think the height, there's not a good reason to push that up. Like I said, you'd like to have some mitigating factors. This is a flat lot. It's at the bottom of the hill there on Turner before you go up to Lake Fayetteville. It's a nice big flat lot. So it's not a situation in which you have a 22-foot building that really looks like 14 or 15 feet. It's not on a slope. It's going to be every bit of that. The neighbors have concerns about, for something that size with the car lift and noise and things like that. I'd like to just stick with the height variance and address that. But like I said, it's not just, I'm backing up to it, and there are a couple other property owners that are going to be in full view of this as well. It'll be significantly taller than our homes. It'll be about as tall as their home as well. I just think, again, the aesthetics comment, I don't know how that exactly will look. There's not elevations or anything like that. So I think, ultimately code's code for a reason. And without demonstrating a hardship that code is creating, and without having some good mitigants for that code, some sort of screening or, by having trees around and all that, it's going to be pretty visible. I just think again, there's lots of outbuildings around this. Some of these are older homes with smaller garages, so you have the 120-foot buildings, and all the adjacent properties that have outbuildings are within code as well. So this would be a pretty large exception to the surrounding neighborhood. And with that, I'd like to oppose it. And like I said, I can give a couple other letters as well if you'd like that in
You're
support.
gonna bring those down, we'll get those put in the record too.
Do we have any other comments?
I would like to say that this building will not be taller than my house. My house is that tall.
Any comments from the commission?
Is there a way to accomplish your car lift without having this height? And can you speak to what you do, what your intentions are for the building?
There's probably a way to do it without going to the 22 feet. There's probably not a way to do it and achieve within the code at 16 or 16 and a half, whatever that is.
You mentioned sidewall height. What was that height you said earlier?
Well, I am proposing 14-foot sidewalls.
So if you did some type of structure with a single pitch roof instead of this type of format, could you not achieve the same thing, 14-foot height or so?
One of the options I am considering would be a stick-built structure using the same materials, the roof, asphalt shingles, and the same materials as my house,
And so I wanted the 612 roof pitch in order for it to look like it was a part of the house. Reducing the roof pitch would help some. Going to a 13-foot sidewall would help some, but it will still not get us down to the 16 and a half.
Okay, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Cloud.
Parker,
No.
Peters,
No.
Austin.
No.
Cloud. Compton,
No.
David,
No.
Mueller.
No. This does not pass.
You have the right to appeal the planning commission's denial to the city council. You need to file an appeal in the city clerk's office within 15 days. You must indicate why you think the planning commission's decision was in error, and you have to notify the adjacent property owners again.
Okay, next is Gary and Bonnie Crane. Variance for increased fence height from 3 feet to 6 feet on Turner Street, presented by Gary and Bonnie Crane.
Good evening, Gary Crane, my wife Bonnie Crane, and we request a variance to put in a privacy fence at 6 feet instead of the 3 feet that is in the books.
And where do you want to start the fence? At the front edge of your house and go all the way to the south property line? Is that what you're looking at?
It won't be the front edge, it'll be, if you go back to that photograph, that big holly bush there, it'll be a little behind that and it'll go back. It won't go to the sidewalk. And looking back down the street, close to where that telephone pole is, it's a property line, and we'll hit that property line and go back east.
Are you going to start right behind the shrub that you see at the corner of the house? Or at the back?
Not right behind. No, we want to have some space between the shrub and the fence.
Will start behind the.
I don't think we got an answer. So will you be bringing the fence out from the edge of the house toward the street, right behind where the shrub is on the corner, or will you be starting at the back edge of the house going toward the street?
About halfway between the edge of the house and that shrub, that holly bush.
Okay.
Is there any questions from the commission?
I didn't get a chance to go to this one. Is there any sight distance problems at that intersection? Does anyone know?
Did anyone in engineering look at it? Did y'all look at it, Katie?
We didn't calculate it. We can if the commission requests.
Katie, did you go out there?
Not on this one. I think I missed this one in the packet. I looked at the one on Cartwright, but not this one.
Okay. Well, much like the one we had last month, I think I'd be okay with the variance if the 6 feet part of the fence is outside of the sight triangle, but we don't know what that is. So I don't know if the request can be modified to say a 6-foot fence in the front yard outside the site triangle of Annie, Laurie, and Turner? If so, I guess that would make me feel better.
Or do we want to table it and let engineering meet out there with them and determine where they would need to start with it outside the site triangle?
That'd be another way to solve the problem.
Okay. Mr. Crane, do you understand what we're talking about?
Yes, we don't want to block the view of the traffic for sure, so we're agreeable to that.
Okay, so you would be agreeable to have engineering determine where you can start the fence so that the fence stays out of the site triangle?
Yes.
So this will be tabled until that's determined?
Unless y'all are willing to go ahead and approve it, subject to that engineering working out with the property owner where it can start. If you're.
I'm willing to do that. This is Peyton. I'm willing to approve it, pending engineering approval.
Is that acceptable to you, Mr. Crane, that it would be approved subject to being located outside the site triangle, and you would meet with engineering to determine where that's gonna be?
Yes, it sure is.
Okay. Then we still need to call for the vote.
Okay. That would be a
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Parker.
Peter, excuse me, Peters,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Cloud. Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes,
Parker.
Yes.
passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Springdale Airport hangar for Mike Davis. Variance for commercial design standards. Central features and community spaces, facades and exterior walls, detail features, materials and colors, landscaping, presented by Engineering Services.
Thank you, Jason Apple with ESI. I'll just try to address some of the requests. We are 3 hangars, or will be the 3rd hangar off Powell from the public right of way. I do understand that airport is the access to the airport facility currently. Currently, no other hangars in this area have met commercial design standards. The 2 adjacent hangars have off-street parking directly off airport. We tried to help this case. We do have some parking off to the east side of the hangar. We provided foundation landscaping along the north side along airport. And I believe we have some just elevation pictures of, it's a hangar. We did add a small level of detail of masonry along the northern edge. It's a 4-foot brick skirt. But that's our request tonight.
Do we have any staff comments? Questions from the commission? Do you have any comments from the audience? Should I wait till Patsy gets back?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wait till Patsy gets back, just a few moments.
I think we talked about this subject, not at this hangar, some months ago. And I think the commission was gonna look at maybe developing its own design standards.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I
Has that
agree.
happened?
I don't know if it's happened, but I agree that we should.
Well, and hangars are not commercial buildings.
But it also doesn't have, in my opinion, it doesn't have public road frontage. Yeah, it's airport road. I think in the future, And I think we've seen some master planning that is gonna change the location of the entrance to the airport. And I believe the other hangars that were discussed tonight on 265, the two rear ones, we're not gonna have design centers, but the two that were on 265, we're gonna have some level of design center. I don't know what that was, but you know, just in this location with the surrounding, I mean, I don't know. I think it'd look out of place if it was not a metal hanger.
Do you have any comments on this one?
We have any comments? It doesn't front right out onto South Street or 265. Oh, sorry. Sorry, it doesn't front out on the ones like the one we talked about on 265. It's a little bit more interior to the airport itself. I'm not saying it should be just a plain metal building, but it at least is in a better location than some of the others.
Call for the vote?
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters. Can we do them all together?
Comfortable with that, yes.
Peters,
Yes?
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
This passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next is Pascual Rosales, variance to expand driveway toward the front door by 6 feet, presented by Tanya Rosales.
Yes. Sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit
My-
about what you're planning to do?
Yes, sorry. My name is Tanya Rosales, and I am representing my dad because he's wanting to expand his driveway towards the door 4 feet. I had put 6 feet, but he wasn't sure, and then he measured it out right, and it was 6 feet. 4 feet.
Why do you want to expand to this direction instead of on the other side of the driveway as our ordinance allows?
Because there's not too much space on the other side to do it. And then also I know that's wherever they have their like whenever it rains, the faucet. And they do have several cars, so they don't want to be parking on the grass. And then that would allow them like a little bit more space.
Katie, do you have
So they came in and applied for the driveway permit and wanted to expand to the front door. It's been a little while. I think this was one where they had started the work already, and we told them to come in and get a permit, so it was formed up already, and they'd wanted to just continue out from where the porch from the front door comes to the street. It meets all the other requirements for driveway expansions besides the front door side.
So basically, we're taking where the edge of the sidewalk coming out from the front door and making that straight all the way back and widening the drive to be that wide,
Yes.
which would make it how wide?
4 feet.
The
No.
expansion is 4 feet. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what it looks like a standard 2-car driveway, so it's probably 20 feet or so.
And there is a drainage swale on the east side of this piece of property.
Yes. Oh, on the left side.
Yes, drainage swale is on the other side. A lot of times the water meters are in between the homes on the other side. I think that might be what she was referring to.
And it is a concrete swale that goes down.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're reducing this from 6 feet to 4 feet?
Correct, yes.
Call for the vote?
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Cloud, Compton,
Yes.
David,
No.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
This passes 6-1.
You will need to get a permit from the engineering office.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next, we have Bruno Reyes and Erica Perez, variance for increased fence height from 3 feet to 6 feet, presented by Bruno Reyes and Erica Perez.
Hi, my name is Bruno, and I'm here just to request a variance for height. I got an existing fence of 3 feet. I just want to go 6 feet. I think they went out there and did the triangle site, and apparently it was okay. I just still had to come here and do this, I guess.
Katie, you want to address this one?
Yes, we did look at this one and we didn't see any issues with it, the way the intersection is set and the way the house is, kind of set far back from the curb like that. And the where he wanted to put the fence.
And what kind of fence are you putting up?
It's 6 foot wood fence.
Okay, looks like there's
All-
chain link now, and you're taking that out and putting in
Correct.
6 foot where the chain link fence is.
Yes.
And then on the other side of it, looks like it's wrought iron, you're taking that out too?
Probably will. If not, I'll continue the same type of rod going up. Other than that, if not, it'll probably be wood as well.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote by Mr. Peters.
Compton,
Yes.
David,
No.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud.
This passes 6-1.
Thank you.
Next, we have Get Graphic Expansion, variance for commercial design standards, materials and colors, presented by Bates and Associates.
My name is BJ Phillips, and I'm actually with Burris Architecture. We did the design on the building.
Is he authorized? Hold on, we gotta know if you're authorized to do this or not.
Yeah, yeah.
Charge of days overtime.
We're doing Get Graphics on hold on. Do you have an authorization from the owner to represent them? Because our authorization says Bates and Associates.
I don't have anything in writing, no. I mean, I'm with the Burris Architecture, the firm that designed it. So, I mean, I don't imagine the owner would object to his architecture firm representing this project as far as the variance for the design ordinance goes.
Is Bates not online anymore?
Is there anybody on Bates online? I don't think we did. I mean, there is a letter in the packet from Burris Architecture, but it doesn't indicate. Taylor?
Normal policy, you guys require the
Authorization letter.
I wonder if could we get anybody online or?
We do have a letter signed but it's from the architect saying, acting as the owner's agent, Burris Architecture respectfully requests a waiver from the commercial design standards. But it still doesn't say that anything that he's authorized to represent him at the meeting.
I would say here you need to stick with your normal requirements.
Okay, so we have to table this one to next time when we need
Does-
authorization.
Can the board review the item without having a representation here as far as that goes? I mean,
Nope.
nope, okay,
We gotta have somebody here, either the owner or an authorized representative to make the request.
okay,
Okay? So you'll be on the first of the agenda next month.
okay.
Okay, the next one is Greg Brown. Variance for reduction of minimum road frontage presented by Blue and Associates.
Nathan Crouch with Blue and Associates here to represent this project.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the variance is for?
Pulled up here. Variances for road frontage from 192 feet in a 200-foot required road frontage zone.
Staff comments?
I guess I'm confused. Can we go to, is there a plat that goes with this? This is an existing lot that he is splitting the back portion off and attaching to the property to the south?
Ma'am, it looks to me that he's just reducing the size of that northern lot in length. And so the depth of the lot in relation to Butterfield Coach will be more shallow.
Okay, but
Rather-
split the back off and leave it all alone because it doesn't have any road frontage. So if you're not attaching it to the property to the south, then we really got a problem.
No, he is, ma'am.
Okay?
Looks like that adjusted tract up there left in the northeast corner used to extend all the way to the back, and they're just doing property line adjustment in order to shorten the length of the property from 1,300 or so to 450 or so feet.
Okay, but how do you access that property in the back if you take this off the front and create two lots? You created a tandem lot. If it's not connected to the property to the south.
It is connected to the property to the south.
Okay, that's what you're proposing to do.
Right, that's for the property line adjustment, but this is just for the variance for road frontage.
But we don't do property line adjustments to start with.
Okay, my mistake.
Do
Yep.
an informal plat, but you want this lot to be 190, whatever it is, rather than 200. You can't get an extra 8 feet to make it 200 feet. We don't have to do this?
That's the question that I asked, and this is the proposal that he wanted to put forward.
Okay. So it's a variance request from 200 to 190, whatever you said.
Yes, ma'am.
This is zone A1.
Yes, it's all zoned A1.
That's why it's 200.
Yes, that's why it's 200. Yep.
SF1 would solve that.
Yeah, SF1 would solve that too. There are other ways of doing this rather than getting a variance for the lot width. Does this lot contain, is this property served with a septic tank?
I believe so. I haven't looked into that as far as this variance request goes.
So do we know if
But,
the septic system is included in this lot?
Looks to me that it is not shown on the survey, and so to answer that question, I'd have to research that and get back.
Unless you want a no vote, I'd suggest you come back next month.
Yeah, did you hear what Ben said?
I did hear what he said, and in that case, I will defer to the board's vote on that. But I thought that we were just requesting the variance here, and so I didn't have that information before.
Okay, do you want the variance voted on, or do you want to go back and research that and come back again?
I would defer to your best judgment, ma'am.
I'm not gonna give you a best interest, you know.
Okay, well, that being the case, if this variance for road frontage is denied at tonight's meeting, does that mean that we couldn't request it again next month?
Once it's denied, you have to appeal it to city council, or you have to wait a year.
Yes, ma'am. In that case, since I didn't do my research based on what I thought we were requesting here, which is the variance from road frontage, I would say that yes, indeed, we'll probably table and come back next month.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Thank you. Okay, is that everything now?
I think so. So no planning.
Do we have him online?
Okay.
Okay, we can do that.
Hello, I don't know if everybody can hear me, but this is Jake Chavis with Bates and Associates, and I'm the applicant's representative for this project. And Dave Burris is online too, and he is the architect on this if you have any questions.
Okay, you want to tell us what your variance request is?
If it's okay, I think Dave Burris, since we're asking an architectural variance, that he would be better suited to explain our variance request.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can do it now that he's here to say you can do it. Okay. You can tell us what you were gonna tell us.
I think Dave needs to be let in. Or I can speak to it. So what we're trying to do here is to go with some modern materials, some upgraded metal facades on this one. We've got upgraded glass. We've got painted white brick with a MAC metal panel that's going to represent, it appears to be a cedar. It gives you the effect of having a cedar wood on there where the Get Graphic sign is, and then there's a piece of it that comes down on the right-hand side. And then on the further to the right where the large bays are with those glass roll-up doors, we've got a reverse M-LOK panel, which is an architectural metal panel in 24 gauge.
And then on the back side?
The back sides will be more of the M-LOK panel. The MAC metal panel does wrap around on the west where the angle is chamfered on that corner entry, but the rest of the building will be metal around the rear. It's a back of a lot. There's no neighbors or street facades back there.
It does back up to a drainage area through there.
I believe, yes, I believe so.
It does.
Any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience?
This is Jake with Bates and Associates again. I just wanted to apologize to the commission real quick. I was going back and forth between this one and Rogers Planning Commission, and I just missed it. So our apologies.
This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote. Cloud.
Call for the vote by Mr. Cloud.
David,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Cloud,
Yes.
Compton.
Yes.
Bingo.
Thank you.
Passes 7-0.
I will say I also sit on the Board of Adjustments for Bentonville, and I appreciate your speed with which you guys got through this agenda. I thought we'd be here till at least 10. So you guys did a really nice job tonight.
Well, I have to apologize. I do not have a director's report ready. There has been, well, the excuse is there's so many things going on. I didn't even think about it till just now, if you want to know the truth. So I'll give you a double one next month. We are not planning to have a work session this month unless you guys just have to have one. We're trying to get all of the pieces of the downtown master plan together so that we can make a presentation in the July meeting. Trying to get all those things together and the updates to the form-based code. So we really just need the time to work rather than having another set of meetings. Unless y'all just have to meet. If you have to meet, we'll do that. Anybody have a problem with us missing a work session this month?
No, I think I'll be okay.
You
I'll
think
be
you'll be
okay
okay? Okay, good.
Okay, we're adjourned.